You on?
Good evening, family.
Good evening.
This is Marriage Talk with Mario and Renee. I am Mario,
I'm Renee.
and tonight we want to discuss something that's been asked a few times, but I guess it gets, I don't want to say funny when people ask it, um, but it's, do you need permission from your spouse in order to pretty much do anything? Do you need permission from your spouse to spend money? Do you need permission from your spouse to go certain places? I just thought it's an interesting question especially when it comes to permission, because we're quote unquote grown people in a marriage relationship. But tell us about it, man.
All right.
Permission.
All right. So
Just threw you on the spot.
you did just throw me on the spot, but it's okay. That's how we operate in here. You ain't let me finish doing all my shares and all that good stuff.
Technical difficulty.
No, there's no technical difficulty. This is Mario not doing what he's supposed to do when he's supposed to do it, but it's all good. All right. So
Can I be ready to talk?
I
Marriage talk.
know you do be ready to talk. But anyway, the the question was posed, do I need permission from my spouse? So when it comes to talking about permission, when you want to talk about permission, um, I want to take a look at the definition for permission. And the definition for permission is consent or authorization. And a lot of times when we think about permission, when your children were in school, in order for them to go on a field trip, they had to have a permission slip signed.
Yeah.
When if the permission slip was not signed, they couldn't go. When the children are becoming the age where they're going to do sexual education in school, they had to have a permission slip signed. So it had to have the consent or the authorization from their parents to be able to participate in these particular activities. When we talk about permission from your spouse, and Mario kind of posed it some while I was trying to share it to our personal pages and everything. Do we need permission from our spouse to engage in certain activities or spend money or things of that nature? So do we need their consent or do we need their authorization? What say you, Mario, before I answer?
I say yeah, and it's not because we get caught up in I'm grown, I can do what I want to do, but in your marriage relationship, there should be certain things I should ask my wife before I do. But I'm kind of wired like that now. We far enough into the game that if somebody asks me something today, and I'm like, let me check my calendar, which means let me talk to my wife, which means let me talk to my wife so I can see what's going on before I just commit to something. And we might have something else going on. Something else might be going on, in our lives, at our home, ministry wise. So it's good for me to ask, hey, what do we have going on this day, this time, so that I don't just jump out there and commit to something. And now, we're trying to accommodate not only other people, but ourselves or put ourselves in a bad situation. What's going on, Chris?
We have been in, well, let me say, I've been in a workplace and I have been invited out to dinner or I've been invited out to go shopping or things of that nature after work. And I've actually responded, well, let me check with Mario first and I'll let you know. And whether they were joking or they were serious or whatever, oh, you got to ask?
Yeah, I get that.
Yes, I do. And wouldn't necessarily say that's the permission, because we use the term permission, but it's respect.
Yeah.
Because if Mario is expecting me to be home at a certain time or he's expecting me to do something at the house or whatever, I can't deviate my plans without calling or texting to speak with him about it first before I just decide, oh, as Mario just said a few minutes ago, I'm grown. I could just do what I want to do.
Right. Yeah, there are too many instances where I just always allude to, I need to ask my wife. That can, and as guys, we get into, oh man, you got to ask your woman. Yeah, I do.
Even when it comes to spending, when it comes to spending, we check in with one another if we're going to spend over a certain amount. And we've heard of other couples that do that as well. And ours is $100. So if I'm doing what I always do, end up on Amazon or
I always got a box on the doorstep.
We call or text each other if we're going to spend over that $100. We don't know what might be allotted in the bank account for whatever, but we will make sure that we check with one another before we make those type of purchases. Now, it's up to you how you handle your finances or how you handle your household, but we strongly suggest that you have some type of threshold and that you honor one another. Terry just said that's honoring one another.
Yeah.
That you honor one another in those decisions before they're done. So if he had plans for something and I just go spend $300, $400, $500 and haven't even consulted with him about it, that's going to cause more of a headache in the household than it has to be when I could have just made that phone call or that text message to acknowledge, hey, I'm about to make this purchase. Is that okay? Or do we have something else planned? Are these funds slated for something else?
Yeah, I mean that it's a great way, like Terry spoke of, to honor your spouse. Your spouse has weight in your relationship, so you should ask them certain things, and it's not necessarily permission. You're speaking to your spouse to let them know what's going on in your life. Because for the most part, if something's happening, and I call my wife and go, hey, I'm going to go karting with the guys after I get off work. If there's nothing going on to where I'm needed at the house, she's gonna say, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Make sure you eat. I'm gonna be asleep when you get back or something.
And ride responsibly.
Not happening.
We know. But if you paid attention to our marriage talk, we typically put some type of caption up so we can draw attention to it. And we wanted to do that term permission for a reason. And we deemed it as permission because that's what a lot of people think it is.
Yeah, that's how it comes out. That's what people are. Did you ask for permission?
Yeah. And again, the definition for permission was consent or authorization. It's not about getting permission. It's about the respect of your spouse.
Yeah.
It's about the honor of your spouse. It's about walking in agreement. And a lot of times you see me walking down, it's because looking down because I'm doing scripture references or dictionary or something. But Amos 3:3, that's Amos chapter 3, verse 3 says, can two walk together unless they are agreed? So you have to walk in that agreement. And if you want to consider it as permission, hey, consider that as permission. But when we see it as honoring one another, respect for one another, and avoiding situations that can be avoided if you would have communicated.
Yeah, because remember, you're on the same team. You have the same goals. You should.
Absolutely. All right. So I think that's it.
Yeah, we're good on that.
That's it.
If anybody has, again, if y'all have any questions, any particular topic that you want us to discuss or go over, get at us in the inbox. hit us one off or just leave it in the comment line. We'd be more than happy to discuss it, so we can shine some light on some stuff. And again, always, we thank you guys. It's such a blessing to have, one, person looking at it now that we have a few hundred people that look at us on a constant basis. But continue to share and like the page with any and everybody. Let them know that it's out there. And again, just thank you.
Thank you. And we didn't mention it, but we turned 1 this month.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for tonight. Talk it over with your spouse. Again, it's not considered permission. It's considered respect and honor.
Have a good night, man.
Good night.